The void. The Concordiat patrol fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Orion Arm, their crystalline ships casting prismatic reflections across the void. Commander Vex Tara stood on the bridge of the flagship Eternal Light *, her translucent appendages rippling with bioluminescent patterns of concern. The fleet's long-range sensors had detected something unprecedented. A massive vessel of unknown origin, drifting silently through the darkness between stars. Analysis complete, Commander, reported First Sensor Nileth, their neural interfaces pulsing in sync with the ship's systems. The vessel appears to be approximately 3 kilometers in length. Construction materials are primitive by our standards, but the engineering is remarkable. We're detecting multiple fusion reactors and what appears to be a crude form of artificial gravity. Vex Tara's upper eyes narrowed while her lower pair focused on the holographic display. The unknown ship was unlike anything in the Concordiat database, blocky, utilitarian, with massive engines and what appeared to be vast habitat sections. Most striking were the visible weapon emplacements, though they appeared dormant. Life signs, she inquired, her translator converting her crystalline harmonics into standard galactic basic. Thousands, Commander. Most appear to be in some form of suspended animation. The active crew complement is minimal. Nileth paused, their sensory filaments twitching. There's something else. The radiation signature. It matches theoretical patterns for a Class 3 civilization escaping a dying homeworld. The bridge fell silent. Every member of the Concordiat knew the legends of species that achieved spaceflight not through peaceful advancement, but desperate necessity. Such civilizations were rare and invariably dangerous, having been forged in the crucible of extinction. Open a channel, Vex Tara commanded. All frequencies, all known protocols. For several tense moments, there was only silence. Then, a response came, not in elegant quantum communications or psychic resonance, but in crude radio waves carrying a digital signal. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth Colony Shit Endeavour *, a voice crackled through the translator. We come in peace, but we will defend ourselves if necessary. The words were simple, but the implications sent ripples of agitation through the crystalline crew. Earth, the mysterious blue world that had gone dark centuries ago, whose scattered children had become the subject of spacer legends and dire warnings. Captain Chen, Vex Tara responded carefully. I am Commander Vex Tara of the Concordiat. Your vessel has entered protected space. We mean you no harm, but we must understand your intentions. There was a pause before the human responded. Our intentions are simple, Commander. We carry 10,000 colonists in cryo-sleep, seeking a new home. Our world, Earth, could no longer sustain us. We've been traveling for 40 years. Vex Tara's appendages rippled with complex emotions. The Concordiat had strict protocols regarding refugee species, but humans were an unknown factor. Their technology was primitive, yes, but to maintain a colony ship of this size for 4 decades, crossing the void between stars with technology barely beyond fusion power, it spoke of incredible determination and resourcefulness. Stand by, Captain Chen, she transmitted, then turned to her senior staff. Options. Her second-in-command, Zareth, pulsed with cautionary patterns. The nearest habitable world within their ship's theoretical range is P789. It's scheduled for Concordiat colonization in 50 cycles, but they hesitated. The humans might not survive that long. Their ship's systems show signs of strain. And if we deny them aid, Vex Tara prompted. Based on their weapons systems and detected power signatures, the tactical officer interjected, they would likely fight. The outcome would be uncertain. Vex Tara contemplated the massive human vessel on her display. The Concordiat had encountered many species over the millennia, but few had demonstrated such raw determination to survive. These humans had crossed the stars in what amounted to a primitive metal box powered by artificial suns, carrying their frozen people in search of hope. "Captain Chen," she transmitted finally, "the Concordiat extends diplomatic greetings. We would like to send a delegation to your ship to discuss your needs and possible assistance." The response was immediate. "We would welcome your delegation, Commander. However, our atmosphere is oxygen-nitrogen based, and our gravity might be uncomfortable for your species." "We will adapt," Vextara assured them, even as she noted the tactical intelligence in the humans' seemingly helpful warning. They had already assessed the Concordiat's biological nature and were subtly establishing their environmental advantages. As she selected her diplomatic team, Vextara couldn't shake the feeling that this encounter would change the Concordiat forever. The humans had already demonstrated incredible resilience and ingenuity just by surviving their journey. The question now was whether their species could learn to coexist, or if the legends of Earth's children would prove to be warnings after all. The challenge of steel. The diplomatic chamber aboard the Endeavour had been hastily converted from a hydroponics bay, its utilitarian metal walls still bearing the marks of removed growing tanks. Captain Chen watched as the Concordiat delegation materialized through their quantum transport field, their crystalline forms refracting the harsh LED lighting into rainbow patterns across the deck. Commander Vextara's translated voice resonated through the chamber. "Your hospitality is appreciated, Captain. Though I admit, the density of metals in your ship is disorienting to our sensory systems." "Unnecessary evil," Chen responded, gesturing to the reinforced walls. "When you're traveling between stars with minimal shielding technology, every centimeter of steel counts." The human delegation was small, just Chen, her chief engineer Marcus Rodriguez, and Dr. Emily Wong, their xenobiologist. They had debated for hours about the proper protocol for this meeting, but in the end, decided that honesty about their capabilities and limitations might serve them better than attempted grandeur. "Your vessel's construction is remarkable," Zareth observed, their crystalline form shifting to analyze the structure. "Though primitive by our standards, the redundancies and fail-safes speak of experience with disaster." "We call it Murphy's Law," Rodriguez interjected. "Anything that can go wrong will go wrong, so we plan for everything." The Concordiat delegates exchanged harmonic patterns that the translators struggled to interpret. The concept seemed to disturb them, a species so accustomed to failure that they built it into their engineering philosophy. "We've reviewed your preliminary data," Vextara said. "Your proposed colony site, P789, is already designated for Concordiat development. However, we may be able to offer alternatives." Chen's expression remained neutral, but her hands tightened imperceptibly on the conference table. "With respect, Commander, our sensors indicate P789 is optimal for human habitation. We've spent considerable resources plotting our approach." "There are protocols," Vextara began, but Dr. Wong stepped forward. "Commander, may I share something about Earth's history?" At Vextara's gesture of assent, she continued, "When our world began to die, it wasn't sudden. We had decades of warning. Plenty of time for our governments to make plans, build ships, find solutions. But they didn't. It was private citizens, corporations, and eventually desperate communities who built ships like the Endeavour *. She gestured to the walls around them. This ship was built in orbit by people who refused to accept extinction. The metal came from asteroids we learned to mine. The fusion drives were developed by engineers working in their garages. The cryopods keeping our colonists alive. Designed by medical students who saw their hospitals overwhelmed by climate refugees. The Concordiat delegates' crystalline forms rippled with complex patterns as Wong continued. "We're not asking for charity, Commander. We're asking for a chance to build something new. We've already proven we can survive against astronomical odds. Give us a chance to prove we can thrive." Vextara's upper eyes focused on Wong, while her lower pair studied the ship's construction. The human's words carried weight, but also an implied threat. These people had built starships from scraps while their world died around them. What else were they capable of? There is another concern, Zareth interjected. Your species' history of conflict, our records, though incomplete, suggest humans have a propensity for violence. We prefer to call it a propensity for survival, Chen replied quietly. Yes, we've fought wars. We've made mistakes. But we've also learned from them. Look around you. This ship carries people from every former nation of Earth, working together because we had to. Because survival was more important than our differences. A tense silence filled the chamber. The Concordiate representatives communed privately through their crystalline resonance, while the humans waited with the patience of a species that had crossed the void in a metal box powered by artificial suns. Finally, Vex Tara spoke. We propose a compromise. The Concordiate will grant human colonization rights to P-789 under 2 conditions. First, you will accept our technological assistance in establishing your colony. Second, you will agree to host a permanent Concordiate observation post. To watch us, Chen stated flatly. To learn from you, Vex Tara corrected. Your species has achieved something remarkable, Captain. You've crossed interstellar space with technology we would have dismissed as impossible for such a journey. The Concordiate believes there may be value in understanding how. Chen shared quick glances with her team before responding. We'll need to discuss the specific terms, but in principle, we accept. As the meeting continued into technical details, both sides remained acutely aware of the underlying tensions. The humans knew they were being carefully managed, their potential threat contained through supposed generosity. The Concordiate representatives knew they were dealing with a species that had turned desperation into determination, failure into methodology, and impossible odds into engineering challenges to be overcome. The challenge of steel wasn't just in the Endeavor's hull, it was in the will of the species that had built it. The question remained whether that will would forge new bonds between their civilizations or break them entirely. Breaking point. The colony site on P-789 erupted with activity as the Endeavor's landing craft descended through the amber sky. After 6 months of preparation, the first wave of colonists was finally being awakened from cryosleep. But beneath the excitement lay growing tensions between the human settlers and their Concordiate observers. Chief Engineer Rodriguez stood in the colony's fusion plant, arguing with the Concordiate technical advisor, Televor. With all due respect, your shielding designs aren't adequate for our needs. Our calculations are precise, Televor insisted, their crystalline form vibrating with frustration. The containment field meets all Concordiate safety standards. Your standards assume crystal matrix technology, Rodriguez countered, pulling up schematics on his tablet. We're working with materials that have different stress tolerances. One solar flare from this system's star, and your containment field could collapse. Before Televor could respond, the ground trembled. Warning klaxons blared through the colony's communications system. Multiple seismic events detected, the AI announced. Magnitude increasing, tectonic stability compromised. Captain Chen's voice cut through the chaos. All personnel to emergency stations. This is not a drill. The Concordiate observation post erupted in activity, their crystalline forms resonating with alarm patterns. Their sensors had detected something the human geological surveys had missed, a cascade of subterranean reactions triggered by the colony's deep mining operations. The planet's core is more unstable than our initial scans indicated, Vex Tara reported, her form pulsing with urgent patterns. The human mining techniques are amplifying natural geological processes. Dr. Wong burst into the control center, her eyes wild with realization. It's not just the mining. The interaction between our technology and yours, the resonance frequencies are creating a feedback loop in the planet's magnetic field. Another tremor rocked the colony, stronger than before. Warning lights flashed as systems began failing across the grid. The fusion plant's containment fields fluctuated dangerously. We need to evacuate, Zareth declared. the planet's crust could become unstable within hours. Evacuation is impossible, Chen countered, pulling up colony statistics. We have 8,000 colonists in cryo-sleep, and the Endeavour can't be ready for launch in less than 24 hours. The human and Concordiat leaders stared at each other across the control center, the ground trembling beneath them. Centuries of technological difference and cultural suspicion stood between them, but survival hung in the balance. There might be a way, Rodriguez said suddenly, his hands flying over the engineering console. But it would require both our technologies working in ways they were never designed for. He outlined his plan quickly. Use the Concordiat's crystal matrix technology to reshape the colony's fusion reactors into a massive resonance damper. The humans' primitive heavy metal construction would actually serve as a perfect conductor for the crystalline energy patterns. The power requirements would be enormous, Televor objected, and synchronizing our technologies at that scale, it's never been attempted. Then we'll be the first, Chen declared. Dr. Wang, can you help calibrate the frequencies? The xenobiologist nodded grimly. If we model it on the harmonic patterns I've observed in Concordiat communication, we might be able to match the planet's geological frequencies and dampen them. Vextara's upper eyes fixed on Chen, while her lower pair studied the increasing seismic data. The plan was desperate, dangerous, and relied on technology interactions that no one fully understood. It was, in other words, typically human. The Concordiat delegates to your authority in this matter, Captain, she said finally. What do you need from us? The next 12 hours became a blur of desperate activity. Human engineers worked alongside Concordiat technicians, welding heavy steel conduits to channel crystalline energy fields. Dr. Wang and Televor huddled over computers, calculating resonance patterns that would link the two technologies without destroying both. The ground shook constantly now, and the sky had taken on a sickly green tinge as geological gases escaped from growing fissures. The colony's metal structures groaned under the strain, while the Concordiat's crystal matrix equipment pulsed with increasingly erratic patterns. Energy systems ready, Rodriguez reported from the fusion plant. Crystalline resonators aligned. But sir, if our calculations are off by even a fraction, we'll tear the planet apart faster than the geological instability, Wang finished grimly, and likely destroy both our technologies in the process. Chen looked at Vextara, who had remained to coordinate the Concordiat efforts despite the danger. Last chance to evacuate your people, Commander. We started this together, Vextara replied, her translator struggling to convey the complex harmonics of her response. We will see it through together. Chen nodded and opened the colony-wide channel. All personnel, brace for resonance pulse in 10 seconds. May whatever gods you believe in watch over us all. The countdown reached 0. Rodriguez engaged the fusion reactors while Televor activated the crystal matrix field. Energy surged through the hybrid system, steel and crystal working in concert to produce something entirely new. For one terrible moment, the shaking intensified. Warning systems screamed as power levels spiked beyond all safe parameters. Then gradually, the tremors began to fade. The hybrid resonator was working, dampening the geological instabilities with a combination of brute force and crystalline finesse. Hours later, as emergency teams assessed the damage and scientists studied the miraculous interaction of human and Concordiat technology, Chen found Vextara staring at the hybrid resonator. You know what this means, the commander said without preamble. Chen nodded. Neither of our species could have survived this alone. Our primitive technology and your advanced systems, working together, did what neither could do separately. The Concordiat will need to reevaluate many of its assumptions, Vextara admitted, both about human capability and about our own limitations. As the amber sun set on P789, the hybrid resonator hummed with its new harmony of steel and crystal, a physical testament to what desperate circumstances and unlikely cooperation could achieve. The breaking point had come. But instead of destroying them, it had forged something new. Unity through fire. 3 months after the geological crisis, P789 had transformed. The hybrid resonator stood at the colony's heart, its integration of human and concordiat technology now serving as the template for new developments across the settlement. But not everyone welcomed the rapid pace of change. The tech sharing has gone too far, Zaif argued in the colony's joint council chamber. These humans are advancing decades ahead of their natural development curve. Natural development, Rodriguez scoffed from across the chamber. We built starships while our world died. There's nothing natural about human development. The debate was interrupted by a priority alert from the colony's deep space sensors. Dr. Wong burst into the chamber, her face pale. We've detected something entering the system. Multiple signatures, massive scale. They're not concordiat. The main display activated, showing a fleet of biomechanical vessels entering the system. Their organic hulls pulsed with sickly green energy, trailing tendrils of dark matter. Harvesters, Vextara whispered, her crystalline form dimming with dread. We thought they were extinct. Brief us, Chen demanded, already activating the colony's defense protocols. They're ancient enemies of the concordiat, Vextara explained. They consume worlds, breaking down all matter and energy into their base components. We drove them back centuries ago, but at terrible cost. Tactical projections show the Harvester fleet would reach P789 in less than 6 hours. The Concordiat patrol ships in orbit were no match for their numbers, and the nearest reinforcements were days away. What about the Endeavour *? Chen suggested. Her hull is hardened against radiation, with Concordiat crystal matrix shields. No, Vextara's response was immediate. The integration would never work at that scale. The power requirements alone would be massive, Rodriguez interrupted, but not impossible, not with what we learned from the resonator. The next 5 hours became a blur of desperate innovation. Human engineers and Concordiat technicians worked frantically to adapt the hybrid technology to the Endeavour's systems. The massive colony ship, designed to preserve human life across the stars, was about to become humanity's first battleship. Power systems online, Rodriguez reported from the makeshift bridge. Crystal matrix shields holding at 60% efficiency. Better than expected, Televor admitted. Their crystalline form interfaced directly with the hybrid systems. The human hull design actually improves the shield harmonics. The Harvesters entered weapons range. Their first attack rippled across space, dark energy tendrils seeking to tear the defending ships apart. The Concordiat vessels scattered, their crystal ships barely deflecting the assault. Endeavour advancing, Chen announced. All power to forward shields. The colony ship turned ancient warship charged into the Harvester fleet. Its steel hull, reinforced with crystalline lattices, blazed with energy. The hybrid shields didn't just deflect the dark energy attacks, they absorbed them, feeding the power back into the ship's systems. Impossible, one of the Concordiat officers whispered. The efficiency ratings. Forget efficiency, Rodriguez shouted over the groaning hull. Sometimes you need a sledgehammer, not a scalpel. The Endeavour plowed through the Harvester formation, its improvised weapons. Fusion torpedoes wrapped in crystal matrix fields, tearing through the organic hulls. Dark energy splashed harmlessly against shields designed by two civilizations that had learned to merge necessity with elegance. But the Harvesters adapted quickly. Their ships began to merge, forming a massive biological superstructure that dwarfed even the Endeavour *. Hull integrity failing, Rodriguez reported. Crystal matrix can't compensate for much more strain. The resonator, Dr. Wong suddenly exclaimed. The frequency that stabilized the planet, what if we modified it? Understanding rippled through the Concordiat crew. The hybrid technology they created hadn't just saved the colony, It had shown them an entirely new way to manipulate energy and matter. Working together, human and Concordiat crews reconfigured the Endeavour's systems. The ship's hull became one massive resonator, channeling power through steel and crystal in ways neither civilization had imagined possible. The Harvester superstructure attacked, dark energy lashing out like tentacles of negative space. The Endeavour met the assault with a pulse of hybrid energy that rippled through space-time itself. Where steel met crystal, where human determination met Concordiat precision, a new force emerged. The Harvester's biological technology, unable to adapt to this unprecedented attack, began to break down. Their dark energy weapons turned inward, their merged form collapsing in on itself. Hours later, as rescue ships arrived to find a graveyard of Harvester biomatter and a battered but triumphant Endeavour Vextara found Chen in the ship's observation deck. "The Concordiat will want to study this technology," she said. "They're welcome to try," Chen replied with a tired smile. "But I don't think either of our species can recreate it alone anymore. What we built here, it only works because we're different, because we each see what the other can't." The hybrid systems hummed around them, steel and crystal singing together in perfect harmony. Beyond the viewports, P789's amber sun rose over a horizon that would remain free, protected by a power born from the unity of two civilizations that had learned to see strength in their differences. A new dawn. 1 year after the Harvester battle, P789 had been transformed. The colony, now officially named Unity Point, had become a proving ground for human Concordiat cooperation. The hybrid technology that saved the planet and defeated the Harvesters had sparked a technological and cultural revolution that neither species could have predicted. In the colony's new research center, Dr. Wong and Televor led a mixed team of scientists studying the principles behind their accidental breakthrough. The efficiency ratings are still impossible by either of our species' conventional physics, Televor noted, the crystalline form pulsing with excitement. "Maybe that's the point," Wong replied, gesturing at their latest test results. "We're not working with conventional physics anymore. We're creating something entirely new." Across the colony, the integration had spread beyond technology. Human children played in parks alongside young Concordiat crystals, their laughter and harmonic songs mixing in the amber light. Construction crews used hybrid tools to raise buildings that combined Earth architecture with crystalline aesthetics. In orbit, the Endeavour was being refitted as the first of a new class of joint patrol vessels. Its success against the Harvesters had convinced both species that their combined strength was worth preserving and enhancing. Captain Chen found Commander Vextara in their favorite spot, the observation deck overlooking the hybrid resonator that had started it all. "The Concordiat Council has approved our proposal," Chen announced. "Unity Point will become the first joint training facility." The vote wasn't unanimous, Vextara admitted, her upper eyes fixed on the resonator while her lower pair studied data streams. "Some still fear we're advancing your species too quickly. And some of our people worry we're losing our independence," Chen acknowledged. "But after everything we've been through, I think both sides understand what we can achieve together." Their conversation was interrupted by Rodriguez rushing in, his usual calm demeanor shattered by excitement. "You need to see this," he said, pulling up a holographic display. "We've been analyzing the energy patterns from our hybrid systems. They're not just affecting local space-time, they're creating ripples we can track." "Ripples to where?" Vextara asked, all four eyes now focused on the data. "Everywhere," Wong answered, entering with Televor. "The harmonics we created, they're showing us paths through space we never imagined. Paths that could revolutionize travel, communication, maybe even our understanding of reality itself." The implications hung in the air. Humanity's desperate drive to survive combined with the Concordiat's ancient wisdom had unlocked something fundamental about the universe. Their differences, rather than being obstacles, had become the key to understanding deeper truths. "We'll need to establish protocols," vexed Tara began, but Chen cut her off with a laugh. "With all due respect, Commander, I think we're past protocols. What we've built here, it works because we stopped trying to control it and started trying to understand it. Together." Alert chimed softly, drawing their attention to the main viewing window. Unity Point's amber sun was setting, painting the hybrid structures in gold and crystal light. But it wasn't the sunset that had triggered the alert, it was the arrival of new ships in orbit. Concordiat vessels escorting more human colony ships, drawn by the success of their unprecedented partnership. "They're afraid," Wang observed, watching the new arrivals. Both sides. Afraid of change, afraid of losing their identity, afraid of the unknown. "Good," Shen replied firmly. "Fear kept humanity alive long enough to reach the stars. Fear taught the Concordiat to look beyond their assumptions. But it's not fear that will carry us forward." She gestured to the hybrid resonator, to the impossible harmony of steel and crystal that had saved their world. It's hope and the understanding that our greatest strength lies not in our differences or our similarities, but in our willingness to face the unknown together. As the new ships began their descent, human and Concordiat crews working in perfect synchronization, the resonator's hum shifted slightly. Steel and crystal sang together, creating new harmonies, new possibilities, new futures that neither species could have imagined alone. Unity Point glowed in the dying light, no longer just a colony or an experiment, but a symbol of what was possible when necessity bred innovation, when desperation led to cooperation, and when two vastly different species learned that the space between stars was best crossed together. The new dawn waiting beyond the horizon would bring challenges, discoveries, and wonders that neither humans nor the Concordiat could predict. But they would face it as they had faced every crisis since their first encounter, not as separate species bound by treaties and protocols, but as pioneers of a new way forward, their differences becoming the foundation of their strength.